They want to move in with us, but that is too not going to happen. It is one of the questions in topic test. The answer given is so in place of to. How would that be correct? You tell me. Anyway, let's look at this question. They want to move in with us, but that is too not going to happen. Actually, this whole expression, okay, of course the error is in C, without a doubt, right? But why is it? I've heard people say, so, see, the fact is established that you have to remove to and so. He himself has said that. Answer given is so in place of to. But my question is, if one of your friends, comes up to you and says, hey, you think we can invite our neighbors who probably you don't like at all, but because, let's try and be nice to them, let's just invite them over to our place, let's get to know them, and then you are like, that is so not going to happen. So what are you trying to say? In fact, I've heard people use this phrase repeatedly in various situations, right? That is so not going to happen means very emphatically you're saying, no way that will happen. Don't even imagine, don't even dream that there is a possibility of me inviting our neighbors because I don't like them. Just because you want to get to know them, I'm not going to invite them, right? That is so not going to happen. So the phrase here is, that is so not going to happen. So here only emphasizes that whatever you think will happen is not going to happen. That is not going to happen is very normal. That's general, right? If you add a so, you're just adding for emphasis. That's it. You can still go ahead and say, hey, that's not going to happen. But when you're adding that so as an intensifier, what you're saying is you're being very vehemently, emphatically, you're saying, that is so not going to happen, boss. Don't even think about it. No way, like John said, right? Now, but for you to understand so and to as intensifiers, usually to is used in a negative context, right? And so is used only bringing in the meaning of very, for emphasis, right? So if I say Atish is so tall. Atish, I don't know if Atish is tall or not, but for example's sake, we will use Atish. So if I say Atish is so tall, I'm looking at Atish in a positive light. Atish is so tall and handsome, right? I like Atish because he's so tall. I love the way he plays basketball. So you're looking at Atish in a positive light. But if I say Atish is too tall, boss, which means too bad that he's so, tall, because it's going to be awkward for him. Maybe he won't have enough headspace, in an aircraft. When he gets up, he'll always hit his head against the, the roof or whatever, right? So when you say something is too something, there are exceptions again, because you will have people saying, hey, he's too kind. That's an exception there again. These exceptions are confusing us. But let's go back. So Atish is so tall, he's very tall. Atish is too tall, too bad that he's tall. Yeah? Okay. So anyway, for our purposes, this is the phrase to emphasize example. Are you following? So always remember that. But I want you guys to also understand that sometimes, let me give you context, okay? If I say, let me give you context. If I say, Tanya is too intelligent, or if I say, Sagar is too happy, or this dish is too delicious, right? Is too right in these contexts? This dish is too delicious. Look at the context, okay? Tanya is too intelligent, Sagar is too happy, this dish is too delicious. Is too correct in these example sentences? That's my question. Yes or no? Only one word answer I want. What will I change there in those contexts? So I'll have to replace to in all of this, because nothing is negative here, right? Everything is positive. So Tanya is so intelligent, Sagar is so happy, or Sagar is very happy, and the dish is so delicious. Are you following? Not to. So you need to understand context. So usually to is used in a negative context. Okay? The overall unease involved in doing business in the country, and the even larger uncertainty looming around the rules that govern the conduct of business, have seriously held back truth. Okay. So I'm assuming this is part 1, this is part 2, this is part 3, this is part 4. Which part has the error? The overall unease involved in doing business in the country and the even large uncertainty looming around. So where do you think the answer is? Why is option 2 a problem? The context is the phrase itself, right? We're talking about more than one subject here, right? Remember, and is there. The overall unease and something else have seriously held back growth, which is fine. Yes, and even. No, not and even. The is also fine. It's just being specific, right? And the context is giving me a specific point here. Okay, I'm going to give you some context. You tell me objects in the photo are even larger than they appear. Donald Trump's travel ban returns, and it's even larger. Turn large acquisitions into even larger profits. I have a large room with an even larger balcony. So in all this context, so there's a little bit of comparison happening, right, with respect to, if you look at the context, the overall unease involved in doing business in the country and the even larger uncertainty. So in comparison to not just this factor alone, I have another one in addition to this, which is an even bigger pain. The even larger uncertainty looming. So there's comparison happening between one entity and the other. In all the context, if you see, objects in the photo are even larger than they appear. So they seem something more than what. So this comparison. Trump's travel ban returns, and it's even larger. So earlier it was to one extent, 1 degree, and now it's even larger. So the clue word is even. Turn large acquisitions into even larger profits. I have a large room with an even larger balcony, right? So compared to the room, my balcony is even larger. So in the context here again, not only that this point is there, the overall unease involved in doing business, the other bigger problem is the uncertainty which is looming around the rules that govern the conduct of business, and these two put together have seriously held back growth. Held back is again one phrasal verb, growth. Okay, so the error is in part 2, even larger uncertainty looming around. This is something that you will be able to identify only if you understand sentence constructions and what is being compared here in the context. And the clue is, because I'm familiar with that collocation and even something, so which means you're comparing it with something else, even as your clue word there. So unless and until you're familiar with that construction, you will overlook this error. Your tendency is to think there's no error, but there is an error. This is one of the type of questions asked. Let's read. In the questions given below, there is an error in one or more sentences. Please select the most appropriate option out of the 5 options given for each of the following sentences. Which in your view is grammatically incorrect or structurally incorrect? Right? So if you look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, you can quickly identify what's the concept, right? Can somebody tell me what concept is this? It's spot the error. Can anybody identify? There's a repeat word, right? Or at least there is one verb that is repeated throughout. So they are telling you there can be an error in more than one question, is what they are saying basically. Yeah, put, right? That's the repeat verb if you see. So please put on your shoes, please put your shoes on, please put on them, please put them on. So they're asking, not idioms, these are put plus on, right? Verb plus preposition combination is phrasal verbs. That's the concept. These are phrasal verbs, right? Now, we know that put on can either come as it is or it can be separated by the object. What's the object here? Shoes, right? So please put your shoes on. So please put on your shoes. Put on in this context means what's the meaning? Don. Don means not our Don in the movies, right? Don means to, like, you're putting on clothes. Okay, so please put on your shoes or please put your shoes on, both are correct, right? Please put on them. So this feels a little weird, right? It's incomplete. Put on them means put what on whom? Doesn't make sense. Please put them on also is grammatically and structurally correct, because we're talking about something they're asking to put on. The subject them can be anything. It can be clothes, it can be shoes, whatever it is, but it is structurally still correct. So the only option where it is incorrect is option 3. So only 3 would be our answer for this question.